The topic of our lesson is circulatory system and blood. We will talk about the evolutionary change in the circulatory organs of animals. The features of the structure of the circulatory system get acquired with the composition of blood and its significance for the body. The circulatory system is an organ system that provides the movement of blood in the body, the transport of nutrients and oxygen. Blood is a liquid tissue consisting of cells and the intercellular substance. This raises question: do all animals on Earth have blood and circulatory systems? Of course not. In all protozoa, the cytoplasm performs the function of blood. In the amoeba, various substances are transferred during its movement. In which the cytoplasm flows from the one part of the body to another. Thus, the substances are mixed and distributed through the cell. The infusoria slipper has a constant body shape. The movement of the digestive vacuole and the nutrients through the cell is achieved by constant movements of the cytoplasm, and only later in the course of evolutionary did a special system of organs appear, the circulatory system. It first appears in annelids. The as form has a finely developed circulatory system, which consists of blood vessels. Blood moves through them. The blood carries nutrients and oxygen. The movement of blood through the vessels is provided by worms. Contractions of the heart. Hearts are circular vessels. They connect the spinal and abdominal vessels into a single closed circulatory system. All annelids have red blood, thanks to hemoglobin, but in nature there are also sea worms with green blood. In mollusks and insects, hemolymph flows through the vessels. A colorless, sometimes yellow-green liquid that performs the functions of blood. The circulatory system consists of blood vessels and their heart. From the heart, hemolymph enters the blood vessels and from the flows into the gaps between the organs, washing the body cavity. Then it's collected again in the blood vessels and enters the heart. Such a circulatory system is called an open one. Scorpions, spiders, crayfish, octopuses, and cuttlefish have blue blood. Instead of hemoglobin, the blood consists of a compound with copper. Copper also gives the blood a blue color. In vertebrates, the circulatory system became more complex and closed, despite the fact that the circulatory system in vertebrates has a single structure plan. There are also differences. Many differences were formed as a result of adaptation to new environmental conditions. Let us consider the general scheme. Complication of vertebrate circulatory system in the course of evolution. We see how the circulatory system of vertebrates is changing. Let's talk about the structure of the circulatory system of representatives of different classes of the chordate type. Of all the chordate classes, fish have a simple circulatory system. It consists of the heart and the blood vessels and one circulatory system. The heart of Pisces is two-chambered, consists of two pairs of the atrium and the ventricle. All departments are alternately produced with the help of their muscle walls. Blood flows through the vessels. The vessels that carry blood from the heart are called arteries. The vessels that lead to the heart are called veins. Capillaries are the smallest vessels in which the metabolism takes place. Fish have one circulatory cycle. Blood from the atrium is pushed into the ventricle and then into the largest abdominal aorta, along which it goes to the gills, where it's enriched with oxygen and released from the carbon dioxide there. The arterial blood of fish has a bright scarlet color. It's rich in oxygen. This blood flows through the arteries to the brain, to the muscles of the trunk and the tail. The venous blood of fish a dark cherry color. It's already structured with carbon dioxide. Blood collects in large veins and goes through them to the heart and the atrium. Fish blood has red blood cells that contain hemoglobin. A more complex structure of the circulatory system is observed in amphibians. The restructuring of the circulatory system of amphibians is associated with the development of terrestrial respiration. All amphibians have a three-chambered heart. It consists of the two atria and one ventricle. Arterial blood coming from the lungs and the venous Arterial blood coming from the lungs and the venous blood from the organs and tissues of the body mixes in the ventricle and then spreads through the body. In connection with the transition of the ground air environment of life, lungs were formed in amphibians and the new circle blood circulation appeared between the heart and lungs. So in amphibians, two circles of blood circulation were formed. Evolution went in the direction of creating a specialized circulatory system capable of providing all the cells of the body with the substance necessary for life. The main feature of the circulatory system reptiles it consists in the separation of arterial and the venous blood. Reptile heart, three-chamber. It's already forming a partition. However, the ventricle of the heart is divided by an incomplete septum into two halves. The right one is venous, right and left sides are arterial, and therefore the blood in the ventricle is partially mixed. In crocodiles, the septum in the ventricle is complete arterial, in the various blood in the heart isn't. These are mixed. Crocodiles are an exception to the rule. The crocodile belongs to the reptiles, but its heart is four-chambered like that of birds. The circulatory system of birds, like all vertebrates, consists of the heart and blood vessels. Blood is distributed through the body of birds from the heart through the arteries, veins, and capillaries. As in all vertebrates, arteries in birds are colored vessels that carry blood from the heart to all tissues. The veins of birds carry blood on the contrary from the organs and tissues of the heart. Capillaries are the thinnest vessels. They permeate all the tissues and organs, and they change gases. This is a large cycle of blood circulation. The heart of birds has four chambers consisting of two atria and two ventricles. Venous blood through the large veins collects in the right atrium and passes into the right ventricle. In the lungs, arterial blood flows through the pulmonary veins to the left atrium. This is a small cycle of the blood circulation. Due to the more passive structure of the circulatory system in birds, there was a complete separation of arterial and venous blood. All organs and tissues of the bird's body receive oxygen-rich blood. Mammals and birds have a lot in common in the structure of circulatory system. The mammalian heart also consists of four chambers, two atria and two ventricles. The movement of the blood is carried out into two circles of blood circulation, small and large. Blood circulation occurs through the arteries, veins, and capillaries. Let's pay attention to some physiological features of the circulatory system in animals. Let's talk about blood, since blood is an integral part of the circulatory system. Blood is tissue fluid that provides cells with oxygen and nutrients. Blood contains cells. They come in three types: red blood cells, white blood cells, and the platelets. The main role in providing the body with oxygen is played by the red blood cells. The need for the oxygen during the evolution of animals increased as the intensity of metabolism increased in animals. The shape, size, and number of red blood cells changed. The forks red blood cells are large and move more slowly in the bloodstream. Cold-blooded vertebrates have very large blood cells with low oxygen demand. In the salamander, they are visible to the naked eye. Mammalian red blood cells are 3 times smaller than amphibian red blood cells, but their number in 1 millimeter of blood is 13 times higher. It's established that the smaller the mammal, the smaller and more numerous its red blood cells are. Very small red blood cells in high altitude animals where the air is poor in oxygen. The shape of red blood cells of absorb oxygen is of great importance. The shape of red blood cells varies from animal to animal. Red blood cells can be round, oval, fish form, and sometimes disc-shaped with process. In higher animals, red blood cells don't have a nucleus. Blood is the most amazing body tissue. Blood mobility is the most important condition for the body's life, just as it is impossible to imagine to state without transport lines of communication, so it's difficult to imagine the experience of an animal without the movement of blood through the vessels, when oxygen, water, and nutrients are carried to all organs and tissues. From all that has been said, we will conclude the evolution of the circulatory system followed the path of creating a well-specialized circulatory system that provides all the cells of the body with the necessary conditions for their life.